being alone, I'm realizing being alone makes you indestructible. What I mean is, like, more comfortable you are being alone, the more comfortable you are with yourself, not needing anyone around. You become more emotionally independent. You become more self-sufficient, introspective. You learn more things about yourself. Most people, they know more about celebrities than what they know about themselves. And that's a problem. But what I will say is being alone and being able to be alone is truly a superpower. There was a summer, not 4 or 3, I don't even know how long ago, but when I was growing up, I was never like the type of kid in high school or even middle school to really have a whole lot of people around me. I was honestly cool with everybody, but there was never a time where I felt like I needed, people around me. And a lot of the time I would either be playing basketball by myself. I played basketball by myself. I did a lot of shit by myself. But God has a way of, putting his hands on your life to change you and make you the person who you're designed to be. And I'm realizing now that was some of the greatest things. That's the greatest thing that ever happened. One of the greatest things that ever happened to me is not really fitting into a certain group. I was always a leader in my own right for myself. I never cared about what anyone was doing, whether they were partying, doing drugs, whatever. I would be in my attic at my house, becoming a prestige master level 1000 on Black Ops 4. That's Call of Duty. I used to bang Call of Duty. But that's neither here nor there. I always had one friend, at all time. And I think being able to be alone, feeling peace, being able to be alone with the thoughts in your head, it's almost something you have to do if you want to improve yourself. And people, a lot of the time they're very lonely, so then they start hanging around low quality people. And so instead of just learning how to better yourself to be happy alone, they're thinking other people are gonna help them to feel better about themselves. And that's not what's gonna happen. They're running away from their own head. And so I think being alone is a superpower, because if you can be alone, you can learn about yourself. Hold on, there's a million cars. What's the worst case scenario? You being by yourself. What, you improve? You become more thought-provoking. You're not going out. A lot of people want to go out every weekend and just trying to fill a void. Like, I don't think you're ever gonna get that energy off of you, especially because you're trying to fill a void that no amount of emptiness will be filled by talking to other people, going out with everyone. Like, none being trying to be cool. Man, that shit is for the birds. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta find God. God's the only thing that's gonna fill that void. Especially, because you're God's creation. The closer you get to him, the more you're gonna feel your purpose, the more you're gonna understand, okay, if this is gonna happen, this is up to me. There's no way you can go any longer. A lot of people have to go through being alone and the torment. No phone, no internet, no nothing. Just go. Be alone. figure out who you are and yourself, right? Sure, a lot of people, I know everyone has their own things that they're going through, but you know, you're God's creation. You can do all things, and we need to stop making excuses for ourselves. You know, this is real shit. We gotta stop making excuses for ourselves. You know, you gotta make sacrifices, and if you want to live a better life at the end of the day, that's what you gotta do. And I'm on my journey, and I will not stop. You know, you gotta feel like you're the chosen one. Look, you gotta realize you have energy, right? And being alone, you know, being around a bunch of people all the time, you're just giving that energy away. They're taking it, they're consuming it. Sometimes people have bad energy. I felt you know, being alone helps you. It helps you to conserve your energy. It helps you to keep that drive, keep the motivation. It helps you to focus. It helps you because you end up knowing who you are. You know, people who don't know what they are, who they are, they look for themselves in other things. You know, and I've done that. I think everyone does that. You know, nobody's perfect. But if you can realize it, you have to realize it. You have to realize it. There's no other way. You know, you have to tell yourself, no matter how bad it gets or how long it takes, I'm going to make it. I'm going to win. And you know, you don't owe nobody your time. You don't owe nobody anything. The reason why you are the way you are today is because of God. Because at the end of the day, He's creating you in your life now, and you're struggling and you're going through things, and you want other people. You feel like you need other people to know your struggles and, you know, your issues, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine. But you gotta do the hard things. You know, you gotta do the hard things. You gotta be willing to sacrifice. And the energy is important. The energy you give to the world is important. You should see life as a journey. You know, it's a struggle. Yes, a beautiful struggle. God's making you who you are right now. God's making you who you are right now. You're not even thinking about it. People don't even see it. People don't think about that. Right now, yes, you're going through it. You're struggling. It's hard. But God, you're God's greatest creation, and He knows you can do all things. He knows you can do all things. Look, God isolated you for a reason. Only He knows that reason. But if you get through the fire, get through the flames, and you stand in that heat long enough, you'll know the reason why, and it'll uncover itself to the point where you'll feel fulfilled instead of having people only worried about other people, what they think, and I do this too. No one, like I said, no one's perfect, but you got to be willing to change. You got to be willing to change your energy, and that means being alone. That means struggling. That means doing the hard things. What you got to realize is something that Les Brown said. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. And that's something that I live by, because I know in my heart that I care about what people think. Or I did care about what people think. There's so much more freedom in just being yourself, and a lot of people don't feel that. They don't feel favored, they don't feel blessed, they just think life is just this thing that, it's hard, it's just this, it's this and that. But look, There is a whole world out there, and your self-image has a lot to do with the way that you think, with the way that you feel, with your energy. It's insane because you look around the world and you can see how many people in the world there are that are fulfilling, that emptiness. And it takes courage, it takes bravery, it takes change, it takes being alone, it takes grinding hours by yourself, it takes just journaling, it takes research, it takes all these things to make you not mind, to make you be okay with being alone. And so this is almost like a journal for me to one day look back and realize how far I came, especially, with this, I'm, being on a spiritual journey and having my eyes open to the world and how things really are at 22 is a blessing. And I don't know, I feel like I can't believe how worthy I am to have such a blessing and feel favored and feel chosen, and because of God, and being God's greatest creation. It's a special feeling, and having gratitude for where you are in life, no matter where you are. Whether you're eating ramen noodles, walking to work every day, it it all builds who you are. It all builds who you are to be able to be by yourself. I know some people are naturally introverted, so it's easier. But like I said, if you change your energy, if you can change your energy, then you could be alone. So when I was younger, I went to New York for the first time. And I just remember walking with my dad and my family around New York, going to seeing Times Square. And I've always been able to feel the energy that comes from people. And you can almost see, oh my goodness, like they're glowing, they're rejuvenized, they have energy, they're driven. And I just remember walking down the street of, I think Manhattan or somewhere around that area. Those big, huge skyscrapers. It inspired me, even at the age that I was, being 5 years old and exposed to that type of energy. I've always been inspired by, the men in suits walking down, the streets of Manhattan or wherever in New York. And I think seeing them with their briefcases and suits on and just laser focus, and seeing them and looking up and realizing that there is so much more to life. It's a blessing for real. Ultimately, God's going to always go after his own. So that could either be now, so you can be by yourself now, while you're still at a decent age, and you can get to learn who you are, grow, become more introspective, become more aware, become humble in God. Or he'll get you later. That's if you're favored, that's if you're blessed by God to feel, all the energy and feel him and feel what he's telling you to do, and understand the instructions that he's given you. But you don't want him to do that later. You'd much rather want to do it now. Instead of looking at being alone as an issue or a problem, just realize that God's working in your life. God's taking people out of your life because he wants you to get to that point. He needs you to get to that point because he loves you. You know, I've always had people come in and out of my life, and you know, people I've looked up to, people who were my family. You know, I've been abandoned a lot, and I've become really comfortable with that. Everyone goes through their own shit. There's people out there with no mothers, no fathers, no nothing. Don't feel sorry. Don't be a victim in your life. Realize that being alone, being able to be alone, God made you, and you're able to think to yourself with no one around. You're able to journal. You're able to really understand and get to heights that you want to be at. It's a blessing. That is a blessing. And this is just my life. Like, this is passion. This is a straight passion. Like, I'm passionate about this part because, like, you know, it's hard. It's hard, and you got to go through it. But when you come out the other side, man, and just being able to vibe, being able to enjoy your own energy is, there's something blessing about that, you know, and it's just a blessing. You got to look at it like that. The reason why those people were taken out of life is because they weren't meant for you. God is trying to build you. Man, people try to question. I used to question him, but I don't anymore. Because he knows best. He knows me. And there's certain times where when you're alone, certain things happen, and you're just like God, that has to be something, right? Like, that has to be God working, because, And man, it's an emotional journey. It's a spiritual journey. But it's a blessing, and no matter what, I've never been by myself and been depressed. That's a lie. But that depression has always come from other people, if you know what I mean. So it's not that I'm depressed about myself, or depressed to be alone, or sad, upset to be alone by myself. It's just been from other people. And maybe that's why, you know, conserving your energy, and just being by yourself, maybe that's why you know, you end up feeling so good. It's peaceful. It's like, just listen to this. Like, that's peace, man. That's peace. It's cold as brick out here, and it gets to a point where it doesn't even matter. You just enjoy your own company. I want people to feel that. Like, there's so many people I know in my life, and you know, it's hard for them to be alone. I understand that. And it's just building your energy by yourself and doing the things that you need to do is very, you know, I have a lot of gratitude. The fact that God made my life what it is, and all the struggle, whatever happened, I'm not a victim to it, and I won't be, ever. I won't. I can do all things, and people should tell themselves that. Don't worry about the people who are looking at you. Don't worry about the people who, you know what I mean? You should be able to be completely separated from other people. You should be able to be mentally separated, physically separated, emotionally independent, physically independent. That's what it takes. You know, don't let, you know, you're gonna make mistakes. Nobody's perfect, and only God can judge. And being by yourself is a true blessing. But also, having people around who have the same energy, or finding people who enjoy your company, and you know, that stuff's cool as well. But even then, that's why you feel drained. You ever been around people so much or so long that you just you just feel drained. You just feel like, man, I just want to go home. I don't feel like doing it anymore. It's energy. These people are stealing your energy. But when you hang around the right people, most of the time, or you're by yourself, you don't feel that way. You don't feel drained. You don't feel it's, when you're uplifting each other, when you're working on content, when you're doing whatever you like to do. This is just me. I'm talking to myself in reality. And even talking to yourself, like, and that sounds crazy. That sounds insane, diabolically crazy, right? But there would be times where, when you're alone long enough, your thoughts, you just start talking about your thoughts out loud, and you start telling yourself things. It's like almost an art of auto-suggestion, and you just start telling yourself something. It's okay, boom, 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 and I think even then, then you start journaling and you start doing other things. You really find out who you want to be. You know what though? Don't be afraid to be alone. Don't be afraid to do things by yourself. Don't be afraid. Just don't. No, that's the topic of this video. But